What up, everyone? Mutant XP back on the ones and twos. Welcome to Jazzy Talk, where we talk all things jazzy. We tried Jazzy Talk a few seasons ago, and we are back with a new format. We're going to be doing Jazzy Talk twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And on every episode of Jazzy Talk, we're going to keep you updated on everything that is going on in season 5 of the Jazzy Circuit. But we're also going to have on every episode of Jazzy Talk a TO who has agreed to run a Jazzy ranking event for season 5. And so our first guest, really pleased to have with us Cedric, aka hotdogemoji, who is the founder and operator of Creative Arts out in Hurst, Texas, or Central Arts, excuse me, that runs out of Hurst, Texas. And out of Central Arts, you have Artcade, which is, I guess, a community arcade, an event that you started back a few years ago. And so, welcome, Cedric. Appreciate your time and happy to have you.
Hey, thank you for having us, man. I appreciate it. Thank you again for everything you've done for the Third Strike community and letting us be involved in that community as well. So definitely appreciate it. So thank you all.
Well, the game is really sick. It's going to turn 25 this year. And so, we're going to try to do it big with Jazzy and to celebrate 25 years of competitive Third Strike. We already heard that Evil Japan is going to be running Third Strike. I know that created quite some buzz, and so Jazzy is going to do our part to try and make Third Strike really hype this season. And with TOs like Cedric on board, I'm really looking forward to what's on in store for 2024. But before we get into all that, Cedric, I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit more about Central Arts and Arcade and how you started hosting this community space and, sort of, what your, I guess, motivation was and kind of how it all started.
Yeah, I give you the background on that. So originally, like I played music. I've been playing music like more than half my life at this point. And I worked with a lot of DIY venues, just booking like punk and metal and alternative rock, just like a vast variety of different styles and people who are interested in the retro community in Dallas Fort Worth. So originally, my father had teamed up with Tim from Quarter Lounge, which was a local arcade. They just shut their doors kind of recently over the summer. But my dad put together this art gallery event with arcade cabinets that he would rent from Quarter Lounge. And throughout our entire time of being open as Central Arts, when we were doing like metal and punk shows and stuff, we always had at least two cabinets of some sort. We had In the Hunt, if I remember correctly, is the name of it. It's like a submarine, game. And then we always had either Champion Edition or MVC One on a cabinet. So I helped book a lot of the shows and stuff that we were doing at Central Arts, and then I work in a restaurant, so I was pretty busy with working weekends and being preoccupied with working a restaurant gig. So I mostly my role at Central Arts was just doing community outreach stuff and booking like punk and metal concerts. And during the pandemic, I had lost my job like a lot of people had. And so we started working with another organization called Equal Heart. And Equal Heart actually works with another organization called AmeriCorps, which is a section of the Peace Corps. And so during 2020, we were, well, the government was legally obligated to make school lunches. And so since people weren't at school and stuff like that, Equal Heart took on the work with food insecurity. And so they had like a giant resource for, being able to go pick up like milk and eggs and, bread. And they would get a lot of stuff from like the Pepsi company that like, that they couldn't sell, but they would still, donate. And so during 2020, I was working in food insecurity, and I was still getting a check from my unemployment, and I kind of just solidified like this is what I want to do. I had also lost my grandmother during the pandemic, and my grandmother was a driving force in my life to, do things for others and yourself. And, after I lost her, I was kind of like, hey, this is like what I really want to start focusing on. So I helped build up the space at which we host Artcade in, which is Central Arts of Hurst. And we actually have two Central Arts. We have one in Bedford and one in Hurst. And our Bedford location's more for, production work, adult art classes, workshops. We have a makerspace there, so we have a laser CNC cutter, 3D printer, screen printing, just different vast forms of art. My girlfriend does stained glass, so we have a lot of equipment over there. And um, I actually started doing arcade again in December of 2021, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was 2021. So I tried to do, what my dad had emulated. I'd gotten a few arcade cabinets from Quarter Lounge, and it started off with Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate, Second Impact with MVC 1 on it. Um, what else was there? Asteroid, Donkey Kong, and Super Mario, if I remember correctly. So that was kind of like our original lineup. And I had these cabs, and I brought them over to Hearst too because, as a kid, I always, I spent a lot of time in the arcade. My dad worked at the mall. So, we would always go out on outings to, different arcades and different malls in El Paso. And so it's always been something very close to my heart. And so I was like, hey, man, like we have these cabs. We're going to start doing these kids' classes again. This is a good outlet for the kids and like just a nice, thing to have for fun and, for whatever. So I started kind of putting it together with, a few cabs and things like that. They're all American stand-ups, and a lot of them are actually behind me right now. Uh, and so I did Arcade in December, and then in February, I was like, hey, I'm going to try a month of it where I'm going to open up every Tuesday, and we're going to, I'm going to try to curate a scene for, games that I cared about. And I've always kind of I've been big on Third Strike since, geez, like it's probably been 6 or 7 years, 6 or 7 years now. And I actually participated in Jazzy events, and I downloaded Fightcade, and I had all that. And so I was going to free play and playing in their tournaments and everything. So I was like, hey, like I want to try to do it. So originally we started in February. I agreed. I was like, hey, it's just going to be a month. Like I just kind of want to do it, see what's going to happen. And we were originally playing on 30th anniversary on very, very, you know, jank like TVs, like a cheap Samsung, like all this stuff. And it we did it for that first month, and I was like, hey, let's keep trying this. Like let's keep doing it. I'm having fun with it. We had some Smash players. that would come out, and we were like, oh, stoked, we have like 15, 20 people coming out. And then we just started getting more hardware, and I was like, dude, I want to keep doing it. We're having a good time. And I started buying CRTs, PlayStation 3s, and uh, Johnny Wang was, one of our regulars. He was here all the time. He was DJing, during some of the events, and we just built up a community. And so I was like, hey, let's just keep trying to keep going at it. And so for the longest time, we were just playing 30th or OE on CRTs, and so there was like that progression from going from playing on 30th on like laggy monitors, and then like, okay, well, what's the next best thing, right? And then Tim, who owns Quarter Lounge, actually had a dark softed CPS 3. Oh, no, he gave me Second Impact, and I had learned about Darksoft, and I was like, hey, like let's get this CPS 3 dark softed so I can put Third Strike on it. And so I paid Tim to do all the modifications on it, and we got an American stand up, and we were playing Third Strike on that while still playing on OE, and as well as just hosting other games as well. Like I have a couple of those like little Pandora boxes. I'd throw those out, and we kind of curated a few people that were interested in playing like Dr. Mario, Puzzle Fighter, and then there was just like a vast array of games you could play on there, kind of goof off and have fun with. And yeah, it just kind of like picked up, and it just kept getting, bigger and better. And we had a lot of people in our community that were coming out, and I was very blessed to have people like Johnny that were, very spearheaded toward like helping curate this community.
Yeah, I
And
wanted
then
to talk a little bit more about fighting games. You had said that you kind of got into this whole community space thing through music.
yeah,
But like,
yeah,
how did like where was fighting games for you? Did you play them while you were growing up? Like, how did
yeah,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
So my dad has this funny saying that he taught me how to throw Hadoukens, not footballs. Yeah. So yeah, and then like I grew up playing just Street Fighter with my dad. Like that was our bonding time, And my dad was a single dad, and he worked really hard to raise a kid on his own, and I had a good support from like my grandma and stuff. But like yeah, that was our outing, and actually one of the first like core memories I had was actually going to an arcade when I was probably in like kindergarten, pre-K, kindergarten. I was pretty young, but I grew up in El Paso, and we went to the Cielo Vista Mall, and I just remember the first time I walked into an arcade, and like just like the low level, like low light, like just like it's weird, but it's an ethereal place, like, and one of my core memories was like going and playing Punch Out on an arcade cab, and not playing it on like Super Nintendo, and like seeing like the wireframe, and I was just like, whoa, this is awesome. And growing up, that was a big thing. My dad would take us to putt putt every Saturday, like Friday, Saturday, and that was like our bonding time together. And later on in my life, like fifth, sixth grade, my dad owned an anime and comic book shop called Shotokan Anime and Comics, and we he used to host LAN events for Halo 3. So we had a LAN room. We did a lot of trading cards. So like I grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic and all that stuff, and it was just kind of like this cool little spot. And in fifth grade, yeah. My dad had actually gotten his hands on a bunch of Japanese cabinets. So like we had a Megalo, we had Versus City, in Astro, and all this stuff. And like I was super excited about being able to go and play and stuff. And like this is around the time the first Xbox came out. And that summer, I actually broke my arm. So I had this giant cast, and I couldn't I couldn't play games. So like I actually remember kind of like cutting through my cast so I could hold an Xbox controller, but like I couldn't play like on a stick because like I had this giant bulky cast. So I ended up actually getting it a DDR at the time. And that was like my big game from like fifth grade to probably sophomore year of high school. Um, but yeah, like fighting games have always been an important part of my life, and like my dad brought me up on playing it. Like as a kid, like we used to play Alpha a lot, and like Dynamic Battle in the Alpha series. And me and my dad would just like play through it and grind it, and so it's always been something that like I've always been very very interested in. And originally, when I started kind of having I don't want to play music anymore, and that community was just kind of difficult to deal with. I started gearing more towards Street Fighter 4. Uh, and I was probably like, what, this is probably 10 years ago or so. So I caught on to Street Fighter 4 toward the end of its lifetime and, watching like Evo 137. And I was like keeping up with a lot of tournaments that were going on in Street Fighter 4 at the time. And so it's always been something that I've been passionate about and interested in as well.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. You already talked a little bit about the venue. You said you had 2 locations. So, which location are you at
Yeah.
right now?
We are at Hurst.
Okay.
So this Hurst location right now is where we host arcade.
Mhm.
We do a kids art class Monday through Friday from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So I actually had a kids class this afternoon, and my bargaining chip to the kids as well is like, hey, if y'all are good, the last 30 minutes of class, I'll turn the arcade on and we can all go back there and have a good time. And I actually just got a DDR pad from somebody in the community, and like the kids are picking that up and they're having a lot of fun with it. And about 2 years ago, when I first started doing the kids class again, I had these two little girls in my class. We'd play Champion Edition a lot, and one of them would pick Claw, and I showed them how to throw, and she would always go, "I'm throwing you, I'm throwing you," and she would like do it to other kids too. So it was hilarious. Like it's been really nice. Like I've had a lot of like moments where I've like been watching kids like just interact with the different arcade cabinets and stuff, and seeing them like immerse themselves in it, and I shed a thug tear sometimes. I'm just like like this is very very cool and wholesome and. I appreciate it a lot being able to do this. And then in this venue as well, since we do have the arcade, I do book like birthday parties, private events, things of that nature as well. And then arcade we run Tuesdays and Friday nights from 7 o'clock until basically the sun comes up most of the time. We're here all the time, and it's been fun. Like there's a lot of people who are making friends and like building up their own little sense of community, and it's been really special. Really, really grateful for this opportunity, even
Yeah.
though sometimes it's costing me an arm and a leg, or stressing
Oh,
me out a little bit. But like, I'm very, very, very satisfied with this.
we gotta put our money where our mouths are, right?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, shit, I might unfortunately, pass away in an hour or so, but like,
Oh well, let's not go that far.
let's not go that far. But like
But
at least
before that
at least
happens, before that happens,
and
tell me a
it,
little bit more about tell me a little bit more about like you were talking about, the community that goes to play at arcade.
uh, so one thing
Give
is
out your
that there's
flowers before you expire.
yeah, I feel you, I feel you. Yeah, the community out here has always been really really solid. Back when we were going to free play all the time, like there'd be at least like 15, 20 people on the Wednesday nights that they would host. And then like, Nika KO would come into town, and like there'd be like a 20-person queue with one person like going through, like all this stuff and like, oh, you're an X kind of thing. So already coming in, very, very tight community with a lot of talent as well. Like, if I remember correctly, one of the first tournaments I played in at Free Play, Yuki was there, and like I was familiar with him because I was watching footage and all this other stuff, and I had a friend who was like, oh, like we have this dude who's super solid, plays in Japan, And so it was already there was already something pretty much established, and very blessed to have that as well. And there's been a lot of people who've been working really hard to to put this together, like Lance and Ray and like Alex the Machine. Like those guys used to go to free play and play on like a big blue, and that's all they had. And then they started getting candy cabs and the scene and like the motivation to get better was there because we had the best hardware, and there was multiple of them. And I remember going to free play previous to me getting into like the community and the scene uh a little bit more and playing on that same big blue. So yeah, it was kind of just like a carryover of a lot of people who were already going to other places, and that we started doing this thing, and it was a little bit more free and like self-expression, because like I'll stay here and hang out with everybody, until 4 or 5 in the morning, and I think that's really been super beneficial because that just gives everybody in the community a time to hang out, not be like, oh well, they're closing down in an hour, kind of thing, and we're cutting off at 12, you know um so I think that's definitely really really helped out. Like I said, I was very 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 lucky to come into a scene where people were very interested about playing Third Strike already, so I just kind of started trying to piece things together and make it work as efficient as possible. And then making investments on things like I bought a Versus City last year. uh I got really lucky on it, that I was able to find a dark softed CPS3 for under $1,000. And then on top of that too, like I this place would also not exist and be as successful if I didn't have people in the community that were also willing to um show off their expertise and to help build something as well. Like Johnny, man, like the dude is awesome at graphic work and understanding how to build computers and stream PCs, like everything like that. And then we all the younger talent as well. And uh yeah, it's just everybody kind of coming together and making something. And that was kind of like the build up on the community.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is a real plus for the DFW scene and the players that you have going out in arcade is there's a pretty good balance of players of different skill levels. You had
Absolutely.
mentioned players like
Yeah.
Lance and Yuki.
Mhm.
They are, I guess, the
Oh, they're demolished.
the
They just
senseis,
demolished you.
right?
Yeah,
The
absolutely. Yeah,
senseis, the
yeah.
senpais of your scene. Then you have your up and coming players like Sunny and Wax
Alan,
and also.
Alan,
Mhm,
Chosen, Max,
mhm,
Jason,
mhm.
who I call Lil Nasty or Lil Caesar,
Hmm. And then
he's a
you
Hugo
have,
player as well. Yeah.
yeah, and then you have fairly like really new players that are
Hmm.
just kind of starting out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, how has that kind of been for you guys as far as having so many players? Because like a lot of people talk about how Third Strike can be kind of difficult to get into, but
Yeah. Yeah.
having that good mix of players of different skill levels, how do you think
Mhm.
that's like? Do you think that's kind of helped you grow your scene?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so one thing that kind of sucks is we've lost a few
It
core.
happens. It happens.
Yeah, like Chosen. Chosen was doing a lot of commentary, and he's still doing a lot of good shit. Like if anybody's interested in checking out DFW Third Strike as well, Chosen is doing a great job archiving. He does a lot of work with putting uh, Ray and Lance's podcast out onto YouTube. So if anybody's not familiar with DFW Third Strike on YouTube, check it out. There's a lot of good footage on there. And unfortunately, he moved back to Houston,
Mhm.
and then we just lost Max pretty recently. He just moved back to Michigan, and those were kind of guys that were always here all the time, and they were curating a lot of the younger up and coming crowd. Um, but Chosen's out. in Houston, but he's still, uploading things on YouTube, and every now and then we'll all rally up some money and send him up for the weekend, and he stays at Ray's house and stuff. Um, but yeah, it's just we also had a tournament last Friday as well. Unfortunately, it wasn't streamed, but we did a two-man team tournament,
Nice.
uh, and we had 20 some odd people in
Wow.
it. Yeah, yeah, and it was cool too because it was like a ranges of skill level. Like I played on a team with Alex. Uh, uh, Lance played on a team with my buddy Nick, who is an Alex main. And so it was like a good mix of like, oh, well, you got one person who's like a powerhouse, and then somebody that's like in a different skill level. And that was really fun to watch as well. Um, and then we did Danison for a long time before Chosen moved back. So we had a Danison that we were running, and we had a lot of participants in it. And it's just we've been trying to figure out ways to get people, more interested in playing the game. And it is difficult too, because then like, sure, yeah, you're playing Danison, you're playing Dan one against like Alex's, I don't know, Elena or something. You're gonna get washed. And some people kind of take a step away from it. They don't, okay, like I want to go play a different game. But we still have other things for them to, play. And yeah, it's been pretty good with introducing new players. And some people, they want to take a break from the game, or do this and that, but they're still here, and they'll come up and they'll still play Third Strike every now and then. And it's been cool. There's
Awesome.
like, yeah, there's a huge pool of people on different like levels all over the place. And yeah, one thing I do want to try to start maybe implementing here soon. I got a lot on my plate, but one idea that I did want to do is just like do like primers for certain characters. Like maybe doing like an hour or 2 hours where like everybody just sits down and they play Ken, or Chun, or whatever, and you can play like a high tier character, maybe learn something, and just get a little bit more of a game sense. And that's it's hard to kind of curate that. But
Well,
other than that, it's been working out well. Like
yeah.
I can't complain. Like we still have the same 16, 17 people that'll come up like during a tournament. And we'll still have like that kind of pool of people. Um, and of course everybody kind of goes here and there.
Hmm.
Life happens, and you end up missing people that are core people of our scene. Like we have Dre, who's a necro player. I mean, I used to see that guy every 3 times a week, and
Quite unique,
now he's,
right? Is that
yeah,
is that
quite
quite
unique. Yeah,
quite unique?
that's my boy. Yeah, but and I'd see him pretty like frequently, and now not so much. But you get it's just ebb and flows of life and the scene. But other than that, like it's still very very alive.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Not to put any pressure on like players like Yuki, but like you were talking about character primers. A fun way to do that would be to get one of your more experienced high level players and
Yeah.
to just play the entire cast and then just play everyone else, play all of
Yeah.
their
Oh,
mains and record it
Jesus.
all, and that
Yeah.
would be really cool.
Yeah, I did that with Yuki, what, few months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I work in Richardson sometimes. We have a
Mhm.
kids class that we do out in Richardson, and I had to go out there for a class, and it's like 30 minutes away from Ray's place.
Mhm.
So I hit up Yuki and I was like, "Hey, you want to get some food?" Like, and then maybe play some Third Strike. And I just like ran through. He ran through like his whole cast, and I was just getting washed the entire time. Like, the dude is a fucking monster.
So let's talk a little bit about the event that's coming up, Cedric, on Sunday, right? January
Yes,
6th.
sir. Yes, sir.
Here, hold on. Let me bring a
Inauguration.
yeah, your first season 5 event. Let me see if I
Yeah.
okay, wrong. Okay, so here we got the Jazzy Circuit homepage. This is the Start GG League page for Jazzy Season 5. And for those of you who are listening and learning about Jazzy for the first time, Jazzy Circuit, basically a tournament series, grassroots tournament series for Third Strike. And one of the ways to qualify is to earn points by competing in what are called ranking events. Ranking events are Third Strike tournaments that are sanctioned by Jazzy, and anyone can run their own Jazzy ranking event. That's what Cedric did. And so he's going to be, I think you started running ranking events last season, right, Cedric?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I started running them in April.
Mm-hmm.
I think my first event was in no. The first one was in February, I believe. Yeah, because it was our 1 year anniversary of Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went to Houston and I talked to Jesse, and we had a conversation about it. And I thought there was like that distance. Y'all used to have a distance clause on it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I get it, you know. And so like I was like, oh well, fuck, Free Play's doing something every month, you know. And so I didn't think that I would be able to do it. And so yeah, I talked to Jesse about it. He's like, no, man, like just we changed the rules, like try to resubmit, do it again.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck yeah, like let's go. So yeah, our first event was February, and we ran it on it was a charity event, and it was ran on Super Guns.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah,
So ranking events, anyone can run them. Yeah, you just have to meet certain requirements. You can go to jazzycircuit.org for more info on how to run a ranking event. I might make like a short video too. I think that might be helpful, right, Cedric? And so Cedric's one of the grassroots independent organizers that has decided to run ranking events. And so if you enter Cedric's event, you can go ahead, and if you make top 8, you can earn points. And so what are the points for, you ask? Well, there are 12 at the end of the season, June 21st to 23rd. We run an event called Jazzy Finale Weekend, which is going to be at Westminster, Colorado, in probably one of the greatest gaming centers in all of the land, which is Akihabara Arcade. Shout outs to Brandon and Ryan and everyone else over there at Akihabara Arcade. And so it's at the Jazzy Finale Weekend. That's where we crown a season 5 champion. It'll be a 16-player Jazzy Finale. It's always been 16 players ever since season 1. And before the event, there are 12 spots up for grab. And so anyone who competes in the season and earns enough points, it's, for people who want to qualify through points, you have to finish through the top 5. And also there are additional ways to qualify. We run what are called auto qualifiers. These are one and done. You win a tournament, you win any of these 5 tournaments that you see listed on the screen, then you get free airfare to Jazzy Finale Weekend. If you don't win any of those ranking of those auto qualifiers, if you enter, no worries. Even if you don't win these auto qualifiers, if you finish in the top 8, you also get points. And again, the ranking events, we have a leaderboard on jazzycircuit.org, and the players that finish in the top 5 on the leaderboard also get complimentary airfare. And for the first time ever, Cedric, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this. Actually, tomorrow, Jazzy Season 5 officially starts. We are kicking off with our very first online event. We're going to be running 15 online, I guess you could call them online ranking events, and we're enlisting the help of some of the more prominent Third Strike streamers, streaming channels like Stupid Fighter, Southeast Throwdown, and I'm blanking now. Also, we have Riz1, Super Lore Boys signed on to run online events. And so the online events are going to have their own separate leaderboard. There's going to be 15 events total during the season, basically about 3 events per month. And it's a completely separate leaderboard. You earn separate points, and the top 2 players that finish from the online events also get free airfare to the finale. And so I think the infographic, courtesy of Lionplex, give Lionplex a follow. He's a graphic designer. He's also making a video game. It's really cool. Check him out, Lionplex. He helped out and designed all these awesome infographics. And so that's basically how it shakes out. So we have the 5 players that win the auto qualifiers, the 5 players who earn the most points to ranking events, and the 2 players that earn the most points in online events. And so that's 12 spots. If you can't qualify, if you can't pre-qualify, you can always come to the Jazzy Finale Weekend and compete in the last chance. Last chance last year was brutal, right, Cedric? But but now it's going to be even more brutal because we only have 4 spots. Did you enter the last chance?
I did. Yeah.
How was that experience for you?
Oh man, that was actually my best tournament run I've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Awesome.
think yeah, it was great, man. Like, and it was yeah, it was very very tight. Like, uh, EXO ended up pulling it out
Mm-hmm.
like as a last chance qualifier. And yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
highly recommend anybody that's interested
Uh-huh.
in Third Strike to go out to the finale. Whether you do well or not, like it's still an awesome experience to go out to Aki. That is a very very unique arcade that doesn't exist anywhere else in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And it caters toward the Jazzy finale. You have a whole room with like almost like what you had like 16 setups or something like that, with especially with the Velixes. um and it's a great time, even if not that, like Colorado's a beautiful place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot going on, so
Yeah.
I highly recommend anybody to participate in the finale. And also just to build up a scene and play wherever anybody's hosting something, or if it's online, do it, man. Like it's a Third Strike's a great game.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And let's talk a little bit more about your event specifically. And so, part of the reason why you're on episode 1, Cedric, is because
I am the first.
you're going to be running the first offline ranking event this
Yeah,
season. It's
yeah.
the Arcade Third Strike Jazzy Tournament. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here on the screen. It's on Sunday, January 6th in Hurst, Texas.
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. Is
Saturday.
that Saturday? Is that a
Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday. Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. It's a Saturday.
Oh,
So it's a Saturday, even better. Saturday, January 6th. I tweeted the link, and so we'll definitely get the link out when we post this on YouTube. But just tell us a little bit about this first event, Cedric, and just kind of what you got planned. There's already 9 attendees, which means it will count for points. And so all you need for your Third Strike event to count for points is just 8 players, 8 competitors, and so you have 9. And so people who attend the Arcade Third Strike tournament on Saturday will earn points towards a potential free airfare to Jazzy Finale. And so, yeah, tell us a little bit about your first ranking event,
yeah.
Cedric.
So the first ranking event, we have 9 right now,
Yeah.
and I know it's probably 10 to 12, 15 people are going to show up on top of that, because of course everybody is a last minute kind of thing. So it'll be ran at Central Arts of Hurst in Artcade, on candy caps. So we have a Versus City and we have an Astro. So it'll be ran on you know the optimal hardware.
Yeah, turn around. Let's
Um,
see the calves. Like, do you think we
yeah,
can see the calves a
absolutely.
little bit? There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll
Uh,
scoot over a little bit.
yeah, let's take
So
a look
yeah,
at that venue here.
yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I can. Hopefully it's not too weird, but yeah. I can give
Can
you
you give us
guys
a
a
little tour?
little tour.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, we
So,
got VSAV right here,
all right, shout out to
Puzzle
VSAV.
Fighter. Yeah. Champion Edition. This is my second Impact Cab with X-Men versus Street Fighter. This is MVC 2, and I actually rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm like doing this off my laptop, but
No,
I
no, no.
rebuilt the panel on this. I have a
Oh, it's
wide
got
format.
Japanese controls.
Yeah, it's all Sanwa.
Okay.
Uh, so I redid this and uh, printed up a giant sticker essentially for panel. It's like the OG
Yeah.
Capcom. We got Super Mario Bros. Over here, some cabs I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha 3, Alpha 2, which has a switch on it. And this is like a very unique thing that actually came from Quarter Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Tim had put these together so that you could kind of have a double game on it. This
Nice.
is my Mr. Setup right here, which isn't running anything. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. This is a little 64 and 1.
This
Galaga
isn't
cab.
this isn't Third Strike related at all,
It
Cedric.
is no, no,
But
no, no.
but have you?
And then,
But no, no, no. I was gonna mention something that's
yeah,
not Third Strike related. So you have a Mister, right? Do you have a Mister Cade? Yeah,
I
I'm
do,
guessing
I
you have a
do,
Mister Cade. Do you have
I
the
do,
Link kit? The
I do. I do. Yeah, yeah.
So
And
so
then
one
here's
so one thing that I always thought would be really cool, and you could definitely run it in your venue. You ever heard of a game called Saturday Night Slam Masters?
absolutely I have.
That's a
Yeah.
four-player
So
game, right? Like you could hook up
yeah,
like four cabs and run a Saturday Night Slam Masters event. I always wanted
yeah.
to try and do that. That was cool.
I was talking to somebody recently about doing, and then here's my
Oh,
the
tell me a
ash.
little bit about that art in the background, like who.
Oh yeah, yeah. So a lot of this was done by just friends
Hmm.
and myself. So like that big mural right there, I worked on with another person. I had painted this Blanca with my girlfriend,
Sick. Yeah.
and then
Thank
this big guy
thank goodness
was done.
Blanca's not in Third Strike. Yeah.
And then this was done by my cousin.
Uh-huh.
I actually have an augmented reality projector that usually does, some visual stuff with this back part here, but
Okay.
we started moving stuff around and the internet went out on it. So I was actually trying to tweak that because I was going to put the big Jazzy uh, logo in the background. So I had that kind of as my back piece. And then this is my showcase
Ooh,
cabinet
showcase.
that I
Yeah.
yeah, and then
You
I
had
redid
mentioned earlier that you had a Megaloo. Is that did you
this.
don't have that anymore?
No, that was
Yeah.
when I was a child. That
Oh,
was like
okay.
literally, yeah, I was like in sixth grade
The
when that, or
Megaloo is
fifth
so
or sixth
sick.
grade.
That's such a
Yeah,
sick
no,
cab.
they're so tight. Yeah, but the showcase, I had also, I have a CNC, and I know a lot of people who work with that, and so I redid the top panel. I put some Japanese buttons in it, Japanese sticks, and then I've been just buying stuff in auction, and I actually got that cab for $50.
Whoa!
And of
Wait, the
course, yeah,
showcase?
yeah, yeah. I got that showcase for $50.
Wow.
The monitor was fucked up on it,
Mm,
and then my dad and I were looking online, and we found the Naomi board that had MVC2 and CVS2. And the showcase was originally a CVS2 cab, so we had to redo all of the hardware on it, and of course, it's a Naomi board. You can use a VGA monitor, which everybody's getting rid of all those like VGAs, and I was really lucky, and I got a pretty expensive VGA for like $50. I got two of them. So I had swapped the monitor out on that, used a VGA, and it's really sick. Like it's been a lot of fun.
awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah, and then like on top of other Third Strike, outside of Third Strike, like, we were doing Street Fighter 6 for a little bit. We were doing after this year, I've been trying to work on getting a new flyer made. And then I was actually kind of following suit with what Brooklyn Arcade does, where they have like the whole calendar. So I have a new flyer and a calendar
Hmm.
where I can just like literally plug and place things. But yeah, we're trying to do other tournaments as well. Like I really love Puzzle Fighter. It's one of my favorite games.
Hmm.
And we did a couple Puzzle Fighter tournaments, and a lot of the Third Strike guys were playing it. And we had like the first two tournaments we did was like 12, 16 people.
Hey, maybe if
Um,
you end up going to the finale again this year, maybe we can run
I would
a. You want
honestly,
to? We were
yeah,
trying to run a side puzzle fighter
I,
tournament.
I would, dude. Honestly, I would love to. I was thinking about it for that last time, but
Hmm.
there was a lot going on. But I would definitely love to do
Oh,
that. And
let's get on that
I've been
early. Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, yeah, and I've been teaching people how to play Puzzle Fighter as well. And yeah, it's fun. I want to do VSAV. I want to do Ultra Street Fighter 4. Um, just other games in general. Um, Outside of just Third Strike. We actually have an event going on with Mike Beltran, who is a god
Oh, shout outs
in
to Mike Beltran, real quick. The
Beltran. Yeah,
super random tangent. But
yeah.
I watch pro wrestling, and in
Oh
particular,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
follow a lot of Impact. That they actually are going
yeah,
to switch back to TNA, and
yeah,
and I always see. I think I see Mike Beltran in the crowd.
yeah,
I think I
yeah,
saw him at Impact while I was
yeah.
watching
No,
one of their pay per
Beltran's
views
Beltran's a nut,
in
dude.
his
Like,
Dallas Mavericks
yeah. Oh no,
jersey.
dude. So here's a on a tangent, but Beltran. So he's a season ticket holder for the Mavs.
Okay.
And he like is American Airlines like regular. He
Mhm.
goes to like all their events, and like one thing he does is he always buys ringside tickets for any wrestling event. And actually, the other day, I was talking about how I went to a AEW event a, like a couple of years ago. I wanted to go see Nick Gage wrestle, and like Schlack was there, and
Mhm.
there was like a good lineup of different wrestlers, and there was actually a girl here who's involved in the punk and metal community who is a wrestler now. Her name's Allie Catch.
Mhm.
And so a bunch of my friends, yeah, we went to this AEW event, and I was talking to somebody about that event because they're like, "Oh, I was there too," and I was like, "That's nuts." So I was like going through all my videos, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh yeah, like check this out," and I saw Beltran like in the crowd before I even knew him, and I sent him a screenshot of it, and I was like, "Is this you?" And he's like, "Oh my god, that's so funny." I was like, "Yeah,
No
no
one, no
freaky."
one looks like they're having more
Yeah,
fun at that event than
yeah,
Beltran. Like when I saw him
yeah,
on the on the on that pay per view, he looked like he was
yeah.
just having a blast.
Yeah, he went to WrestleMania, I think, like a few years ago, or
Oh,
2 or 3 years ago, and he was holding up a Super Turbo and Third Strike
nice.
picket. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, yeah. So outside of that too, we're running an event with him called Fighting Spirit. So we did a Fighting Spirit event in December, the very beginning of December. So it's Third Strike and ST.
Nice.
And then, unfortunately, this next time, we're doing it, I think, the next weekend, and that's the weekend of the Austin event.
Hmm.
So, a lot of guys from DFW. I think I'm in a Discord, and I think there's like almost a dozen dudes going out to the Austin event as well. But so we're doing Fighting Spirit this month, so it's gonna be hyper fighting and ST.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. So we're
Nice.
trying to garner other
Yeah.
communities here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the Street Fighter Six was a little difficult because like, we are a nonprofit and like money's always tight with things, and a lot of the time like I don't charge for my kids' class. It's a no child turned away kind of thing. Because it's important for kids to have a safe space and to exist in places, and even here sometimes like we're all FGC guys, like we're all broke, right? So like I'm not always like hounding people to pay for things. So we were doing Street Fighter 6 and like some of the equipment we had was mediocre, but with this next year I just got my gaming PC fixed up. So we have a few setups. So we're trying to do Street Fighter 6, Tekken, we were doing Mortal Kombat for a little bit. So, we're trying to get everybody in. I got into Third Strike through playing Street Fighter 5. And it was around the time Urian was coming out, and I used to play with this kid named Espada, and I would go to his house, and he was the one who told me about like Yuki. He actually got me patched with Eddie Lopez, and like we would communicate throughout time. And I was also watching like Nico videos when he was still doing like all of his primers for Urian and stuff like that. So you know it it's a work in progress all the time, but at least I can feel confident in knowing that I have good hardware for Third Strike and the next stuff I'm trying to work toward and build up so that we can have a good community for other people who are interested in other games and also hosting other games as well
Mhm.
outside of Third Strike.
That's all sounds awesome. And Cedric, we're kind of coming to the end of this
Yeah,
episode, but I just wanted to let you know that you're always welcome back. If you want to come on Jazzy Talk again, we're going to be doing this
absolutely.
on every week, Tuesday, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you're interested in running your own Jazzy ranking event and you end up creating one and your event gets sanctioned, you're more than welcome to come on the show. We have quite a few guests lined up for this first month, and so definitely check out jazzycircuit.org. But before we get out of here, let's again take a look at your event coming up this Saturday, Cedric. And so just take it away, man.
Yeah. So this Saturday, Third Strike, we're gonna do the singles. You know, if anybody's interested in the area, I highly even not in the area, just in general when it comes down to Third Strike, like, hey, go out to these events. Put on for your scene. I'm not even going to say like, oh, I can make top 8, but still participate in it because I would hope you'd want to send off people in your community and give them an opportunity to go out and fight with the best, and even I would also say, if you don't think you have the right hardware to do things, still try. Get a few PS4s together, run 30th. I
Hey,
mean,
hey,
you're
well,
not going to get.
actually, Cedric, so sorry to cut you off, but this
Yeah.
season, another change that we made to Jazzy is that you can basically run Third Strike on anything now and get a ranking
Oh,
event.
really?
You can,
Really?
yeah, we open it's
OE?
not just PS4, not OE,
Okay,
not
thank
OE.
God.
We
Yeah,
don't
I
have
was about to
we
say.
don't have
Yeah,
time on this episode to talk about my
yeah.
issues with OE, but
No, no,
basically,
there's so many issues. Get Asian
yeah,
unscaled, awful.
yeah.
Don't even do it.
But yeah, as far as platforms, you can run your ranking event in addition to arcade hardware. You can run your
Mhm.
ranking event on basically any platform for 30th.
Yeah,
I know 30th has issues too, but
yeah,
at least it's the ROM, and so you can, if you want to run a Third Strike Jazzy ranking event on Switch,
Get
Steam,
Asian. Get Asian is
Xbox,
scaled.
yeah, yeah, and also you can run Fightcade offline too if you want.
Cool,
And so yeah,
awesome.
just go to jazzycircuit.org for more info. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you for coming on, Cedric. You're more than welcome to come back. I hope that you'll be running
I
more
would love
Jazzy
to.
ranking
Yeah.
events. So,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start setting up like I said, I've been moving and stuff,
mhm,
and I've had a lot of just real life things kind of come up over the last couple months. So yeah, if anybody's listening to this and you're in the Dallas Fort Worth or you're in Texas in general, I will definitely start planning things. So I'll have every month we're doing it on this day, and it'll be known. Um, and yeah, I also recommend anybody that's interested in trying to do something, just do it. Don't be scared. Like jump into it
yeah.
and help build up this community and be a part of it because one big goal that I had was I wanted to host a Jazzy event, and I finally got to do it. And I don't know, like just jump into the fire and do it. And participate in tournaments even if you're gonna lose. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's about this community, and it's the fact that Third Strike is a great game and it needs to be supported,
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah.
So, and then yeah, one last thing that I would like to say as a closing out is if anybody's listening to this, go check out Wax and Lance's podcast. They're going to be doing an interview with Resolve at 9 o'clock, so in
Hmm.
7 minutes. So
Yeah. Head
yeah,
over
after
there.
this, head over there and remember, Third Strike is still very alive and well. You have two podcasts going on in the same night about the game. And there's so much information out there to jump into and lean into it and take it seriously or just have fun. You're going to find something for yourself, being better at the game or just meeting friends and being a part of a community. And thank you, Jazzy, for uh, bringing the resurgence of this and keeping it alive as well. So thank you to you, Mutant, for doing this and everybody who's involved in putting all this together.
I appreciate that, Cedric. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah.
So yeah, for more info on Arcade's first season 5 ranking event, just head over to jazzycircuit.org. There's a complete list of events, and also tomorrow will be the first online event hosted by Stupid Fighter. And so for the first time in a long time, Jazzy is going to be returning to the online space, and this time it's going to count for points. And so I can't wait to see that tournament tomorrow. And so, yeah, until next time, we'll be back next Tuesday on Jazzy Talk. And I'm just gonna real quickly trying to remember who my guest is for the second episode. I think it's going to be none other than the 3-time Jazzy finalist Flannel Jack. I believe
Oh,
that's going
Mr.
to be
Mr.
on my
Flannel Jack.
on the next
Cool.
Jazzy Talk, which is going to be on uh, Tuesday,
Cool.
January 9th. And so he's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in the North Carolina scene in the Southeast.
Yeah.
And so tune in for that. But in the meantime, Thanks for tuning into the first episode of Jazzy Talk, and I hope to see you all next week. Take care, everyone.
Yeah.